The European Commission has crafted a plan for new country-by-country quotas to help take in refugees. It's part of an effort to find a home for as many as 160,000 people seeking asylum. Now, according to Reuters, the countries you see here in red will be called upon to do the most, especially Germany and France. The plan is designed to take pressure off Hungary, Italy and Greece. States can buy their way out by paying a small percentage of their GDP. Now, German Chancellor Angela Merkel supports the quotas, calling them an important first step. Let's get more from our Atika Shubert in Berlin. And Atika, Germany, of course, is taking the lion's share of asylum seekers. You're near the temporary homes Germany will use for refugees. They appear to be shipping containers. Just explain what refugees can expect.
That's right. I mean, basically I'm standing in front of what is an apartment block of shipping containers. They're bolted together and they can be sort of bundled together so that they're made into basically one-bedroom apartments, enough for a family, each with a kitchenette, a toilet, and there are also communal kitchens and showers on every floor as well. But it does take time and money to build these. This took about 5 months. There's still construction going on here, and it will house about 300 people. But what Germany is saying is that it needs to build 150,000 temporary homes for the refugees coming in. So that is a lot to handle. But what the German Chancellor has done, she's really rallied the country in her speeches, saying that even though this is a crisis that will change the country is up to the challenge. However, she does also caution that Germany can't be the only one, and this is why those quotas are so important, to spread the burden across the EU.
We really need to discuss about a joint and overarching asylum policy, and we, Sweden and Germany, are of the view that binding quota actually are to be applied so that refugees can be fairly distributed to the European member states. Unfortunately, we are a long way off this target.
Now, those quotas are really dependent on how big the country is, how well the economy is doing, and the population. Consider that Germany has promised to consider 800,000 refugee applications. That's just 1% of the population, and that's what Germany is asking other countries in the EU to do the same, take in 1% of their total population.
And Atika, the Vice-Chancellor in Germany, spoke about perhaps taking as many as 500,000 refugees next year and the year after. But it seems Angela Merkel wouldn't weigh into speaking about those numbers.
I think the government is willing to talk about the numbers for this year, but forecasting for the years ahead is a much more difficult proposition. They want to see how this works out, if there is a joint asylum policy that can be handled by the EU. And of course, it's not just the quotas, it's also reception centers in countries to make sure that any refugees coming in can be treated humanely and registered in those humane conditions. So I think she's refraining from that for now, but it's very clear that Angela Merkel has taken the lead, and by doing so, she really has forced other EU countries to change their policies as well.
Taking the lead, and she is being seen as a hero amongst migrants. Atika Shubert, thank you very much for that update. Meanwhile, in France, President Francois Hollande has promised to take in another 24,000 migrants. Senior international correspondent Jim Bitterman joins us now from Paris with more on all of that. And Jim, President Hollande has spoken about the need to act, as he said, without calculation or delay. What did he say about the refugee intake?
Well, he said several things. I mean, we had a news conference from him yesterday, had a speech from him this morning basically saying that France is going to welcome the numbers that you suggested there. We heard from his interior minister just about an hour ago, and he spelled out in more precise terms exactly what he's talking about. 5,000 will be coming into public housing units around France. 4,000 will be coming into reception centers, and 1,500 into temporary emergency shelters, and that's the initial group that they're looking at. They also have sent, as of yesterday, they sent two teams rather, from two of the agencies here in France that screen refugees to Munich, and they're going to bring back the first 1,000 or so refugees from Munich within the next 24, 48 hours. So there is a movement here to bringing people and resettling them. There's also some pushback here because we heard from the Interior Minister this morning at least one town has refused to take any refugees who are not Christian. And the mayor there, the logic of the mayor there is that he believes that if they can't answer questions about Christianity, they may be Muslims, and if they're Muslims, they may be terrorists. That was his philosophy. That was a town of about 35,000 down in the Loire Valley, but it's not representative of what we're seeing. Basically, the representatives of mayors who are meeting with the Interior Minister today, and they've agreed to take on refugees all over the country as long as the national government supports them with various kinds of aid packages to help pay for all of this. And we're going to see a mayor's meeting on Saturday here with a much larger number of mayors themselves who will be coming to Paris to meet with the Interior Minister. Lynda?
And Tim, Germany, it seems, wants a political solution to the crisis in Syria, but it seems France is more focused on a military solution.
Well, France has been saying all along a political solution is the only way to go in Syria, and I think they still believe that. However, that's not working very well. The coalition has been trying military means now for more than a year, so now they have indicated that they will join the coalition. They've indicated that by today launching the first 2 reconnaissance flights over Syria. They haven't been doing that. They've been doing reconnaissance and attack flights over Iraq, but this is the first time they're flying in over Syria, looking at ISIS targets. We're going to see, I would suppose, in the next couple of days that they have isolated some targets and will go on attack against them. So essentially they're saying military means now, just because the idea of finding any kind of political solution and getting rid of the current regime in Syria has not come to fruition at all.
Okay, Jim Bitterman in Paris, thank you very much. Still to come at the international desk, David Cameron faces some tough questions. Coming up, the British Prime Minister gets scrutinised for a drone strike in Syria without Parliament's permission.
This issue is clear.